Who is piloting the UAPs or UFOs constantly seen in our skies? Where are they from? Why are they here? How long have they been here? What is their mission on planet Earth? Do they come in peace, or do they have more sinister motives? Join Mad Mark as he uncovers the answers to these questions and many more of the mysteries that puzzle us all on Who Are the Aliens? The history of the Anunnaki on planet Earth. And now, here's Mad Mark. Today's episode, more on the lie known as religions, and we will begin our look at the secret, the hidden power that lies within us all. Hello everyone, and welcome to Who Are the Aliens? The history of the Anunnaki on planet Earth. I'm Mad Mark, and before I begin, just a quick reminder to please like, share, and comment. It helps so much. I would also like to mention that I have created a new Facebook page specifically for this show. I've put a link in the show description, so go ahead and follow me over there. I'm hoping that this will become a place where we can gather to discuss each episode and where you can voice your opinions and comments, so please check that out. So today we will complete our look at Islam. And now let's examine the Quran in the same way that we examined Christianity and Jesus. Let's see if there are any similarities. The Quran was not sent from heaven. It was compiled by men. But let's ask, who recorded it? Who organized it? Who decided which verses stayed and which were removed? The answer? The Quran was compiled after Muhammad's death by Caliph Uthman, who gathered different versions and burned all the others to create a single standard version. If it was perfect and divine, why did it need to be edited and standardized by a politician? Just like the Council of Nicaea did with Christianity. That alone proves it's a man-made document. Step 2, the Quran contradicts itself. Muslims say the Quran has no contradictions, but let's test that. There is no compulsion in religion. Surah 2:256, slay the unbelievers wherever you find them. Surah 9:5. Does that sound like the creator of the universe to you? Couldn't the creator just snap its fingers and make all the non-believers disappear if that's what it wanted? The creator created everybody and everything, and it did so for a reason. All parts are necessary for the survival of the whole. Everyone and everything has a purpose. If the Creator wants someone or something gone, which it never would do because it created those things, then it is perfectly capable of getting rid of them by itself. It doesn't need your help. Again, if someone or something is telling you to destroy something, it is not speaking for the creator of the universe. The universe creates, it does not destroy. I don't know how often I need to keep saying that before it finally sinks in with people. So which is it, peace or violence? If it's violence, then it's not the creator. The Quran also contradicts itself on the topic of creation. Man was created from a clot of blood, Surah 9:6-2. Man was created from clay, Surah 15:26. Man was created from water, Surah 25:54. Which one is it? You can't claim divine perfection while excusing illogical inconsistencies. Step 3, Islam claimed to erase paganism, but instead copied it, just like the Christians. The Kaaba was a pagan shrine long before Islam. The black stone Muslims kiss was worshipped by pre-Islamic tribes. The pilgrimage rituals come directly from earlier pagan practices. The crescent moon symbol is older than Islam, used by Sumerians, Babylonians, and moon-worshipping tribes. Islam didn't erase idol worship, it absorbed it, renamed it, rebranded it, just like the Christians did. Step 4. Islam spread by conquest, not revelation. Muslims say Islam is a religion of peace, but history shows us that the Arab Muslim Empire invaded North Africa, Persia, India, and parts of Europe. Indigenous people were forced to convert or pay the jizya tax. Well, I suppose that penalty's not as bad as what the Christians did. They just slaughtered those who wouldn't convert. Ancient spiritual systems, shrines, and languages were destroyed. African and indigenous beliefs were labeled as ignorant. How can something be divine if it needs an army to spread it? Step 5. Islam enslaved black people. Too many think Islam is pro-black, but let's talk facts. Arabs were heavily involved in the trans-Saharan slave trade. African men were castrated. Women were sold. Islam justified slavery in the Quran. You may marry those whom your right hand possesses. Surah 4:3. The Prophet Muhammad himself owned slaves, including black slaves like Bilal. If your holy prophet participated in slavery, how can that be divine? Step 6. Islam is patriarchal and misogynistic. The Quran says men are in charge of women. Surah 4:34. A woman's testimony is worth half a man's. Surah 2:282. Women are told to be obedient, given limited inheritance, required to cover themselves for modesty, and blamed for men's lust. I will never understand that stuff. Blaming the women because you can't keep it in your pants. That's just a cop-out. And that isn't divine balance either. It's male domination wrapped up in religious law. And again, who are you to cover up what the Creator has created? The Creator created a thing of beauty, as all women are. Who are you to insist that the Creator's creation be covered up? If you can't control your lustful urges, then let's face it, it is you who have a problem. Please get to a psychologist immediately. Step 7. The Quran borrowed from older religions. Many verses in the Quran are directly borrowed from the Jewish Torah, Christian Gospels, Zoroastrian texts, pagan Arab stories, the stories of Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, Moses and Pharaoh, Jesus being born to Mary. These were all circulating in oral and written form before Islam. And most of these are, as I have proven on this very program, rewritten from the original Sumerian texts. So the Quran isn't original, it's a remix of older beliefs. Step 8. Arabic language. Divine language? Many Muslims believe that Arabic is the holy language of God. But ask yourself, why would a universal creator pick one human language spoken by one tribe in one region and call it divine? If the Quran is universal, why is it locked into just one language? This makes it culturally Arab, not spiritually universal. Step 9. Islam, like Christianity, disconnects you from self. Islam teaches, obey the Quran, follow the Sunnah, submit to Allah's will, deny ego, fear hell, wait for paradise. Gee, it sounds like a carbon copy of Christianity to me. But where is the teaching of inner divinity, spiritual power, ancestral reverence, energy, nature, vibration, and balance? It's not there, because like Christianity, Islam is a control system, not a liberation system. Step 10. Islam is a religion, not a spiritual system. Religion, system, spirituality. Islam tells you what to say, what to wear, when to pray, what to eat, what to fear, who to marry, how to think. I think I'll have to pass. That's not freedom, that's programming. It's a code of behavior wrapped in fear of hell and the reward of heaven. It doesn't teach you to think, it teaches you to submit. Step 11. Buildings in the desert. Technology, not prophecy. Yes, tall buildings are rising in places like Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. But hold on a minute. I thought God was against humans building tall buildings. Remember the Tower of Babel? But that's not prophecy. That's money. Plus engineering, plus oil wealth. Skyscrapers aren't divine fulfillment. They're designed by architects. The UAE didn't build the Burj Khalifa because of prophecy. They did it for tourism and power. Humans created that reality, not scripture. Final truth, Islam is not divine. It's political, historical, and human-made. It didn't descend from heaven. It rose through conquest, culture, and codified control. Like Christianity, it erased native spirituality, demonized the feminine, colonized lands and minds, replaced your roots with rules. God didn't write a book, men did. And they called it divine so that you'd never question who handed it to you. Religion was created to steal your spiritual power and give it to someone else. Spirituality teaches you that God is within you. Religion teaches you that God is outside you and that you need a middleman in order to reach him. Spirituality says you are divine consciousness having a human experience. Religion says you are a sinner who needs salvation from an external savior. True spirituality empowers you to connect directly with source energy. Religion creates dependency on priests, pastors, and institutions. Yeshua said that the kingdom of heaven is within you, but churches moved heaven outside of you so that you would seek it through them instead of finding it for yourself. Every religion started with one person having a direct spiritual experience, and then institutions formed to control access to that same experience. All right, enough about all that. Time to reveal what I'm talking about when I say the kingdom of heaven, or God, is within you. The exact same message that Yeshua, Jesus, and many other prophets have talked about for centuries. The power that lives inside us all, your spiritual power, or what I like to call the secret, taken from the 2006 documentary film. If you have not seen this film, I highly suggest that you do so immediately. So let's talk about this secret. Now, you may be asking yourself, what exactly does this have to do with the Anunnaki? Because that is the main topic of this program. Well, the answer is very simple. They don't want you to know about this. They are the ones who created institutions like religions to hide this from us, to take away our power and give it to them. So, let's agree to stop with this foolishness and take back what is rightfully ours. Yeshua, Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, and many other religious figures have spoke of this power within us. But then many faiths diminish our ability to completely understand the true nature of this power by making it seem as if you need a religious figure or God in order to access God. You do not. It's already right there inside of you. Now, many of us have been using this power in certain ways our entire lives and didn't even realize it. Either that, or there are those who use it in reverse and turn their lives into a living hell. Because you see, this power is a gift from the universe, and the universe doesn't know good from bad, negative things from positive ones. It simply reflects back to us what we truly are. It's sort of like a mirror. We've all known people in our lives who just seem as if everything good just falls into their laps. While you and I are out there struggling through life, they just get everything served up to them on a silver platter. We've all experienced people like that, right? Well, it's not luck, and it's not magic. It's the secret, the power of your mind. And once you understand how it works, the world is your oyster. I will warn you in advance that this will be easy for some of you and harder for others. It all depends on how your brain works, because for many of you, this is going to require a complete rewiring. I started this journey myself 5 years ago, and I have just recently begun to see positive changes in my life. For some people, results appear quickly. For others, it simply takes more time. So let's see if we can master this power together. Your thoughts are vibration. Your emotions are vibration. Your identity is vibration, and your subconscious mind is the transmitter. It takes the signal of who you are and radiates it out into the field. And that field, the quantum universe, sends back experiences that match that signal. So if you want to change your life, stop fighting the outer world. Change the frequency of your inner one. That means stop saying, I'll believe it when I see it. Instead, start saying, I'll see it because I believe it. Because your mind doesn't follow reality. Reality follows your mind. Charles F. Honnold, in the Master Key System, wrote, "The subconscious mind cannot argue controversially. If it has accepted a suggestion, it acts on it. It works by deduction only. It accepts the premises which have been laid down for it and acts accordingly. That means it does not question you. If you say, I am a magnet for abundance, it starts moving toward abundance, so long as you feel it. If you say, I'm always unlucky, it makes sure that that pattern repeats for you. It's not trying to punish you. It simply follows orders that you have given it. And those orders have been spoken for years, maybe decades, quietly, subtly, in thoughts like, I'm just not good with money. I'm too old to change. People like me don't win. Success is for someone else. But you can end that programming right now, right here, with a decision. The same way that you once accepted the false, you can now install the true. You can say, my past does not define me. I command my subconscious to serve my highest good. I am wealthy in thought, wealthy in being, wealthy in identity, and the world must conform. But you must believe it. You must feel it before the evidence will show up. You become what you think about. Isn't that what the ancient Egyptians told us? And since the only thing that you can control is your thinking, if you change what you're thinking about, you will begin to change your reality. If you change what you expect, you change what you believe. You change your dominant thoughts. You change your inner workings. You begin to attract into your life people, circumstances, events, opportunities, and everything consistent with these new thoughts. The reason people are unsuccessful is that they think thoughts of unsuccess or failure. We live in a mental universe. All causation is mental. If you wish to change your universe, you have to change your mentality. And this brings us to the most important line of all, which is simply this. If you change your thinking, you change your life. The universe will not give you what you want. It gives you who you are. If you emit a frequency of want, what you're telling the universe is that you lack something and you're trying to chase it. If you have a clear intention and can see, smell, hear, and feel it as if it is happening now, then you no longer need it. And that is when the universe will mirror your frequency. People often ask, how can I have a goal but also be content with everything that I have? I ask them, when you put your destination into your GPS in the car, do you question whether you're going to get there, or do you just accept that it's inevitable and only concentrate on the upcoming next turn? That is how manifestation works. Once you see it clearly and frequently, it's only a matter of time before it will happen, not if it will happen. God is a mirror, and when you truly understand this, your entire life begins to shift. See, most of us were raised to believe that God was some figure out there, a man in the sky, judging, punishing, rewarding, and controlling. But that's not God. That's religion's version of God. The truth is much simpler and infinitely more powerful. God is a mirror. Everything that you see out there is only a reflection of what's happening in here. It's all consciousness. All of reality is literally being projected by you and being projected through your state of being, and the mirror is faithfully simply showing you what you have chosen, both individually and collectively. That's why the world looks the way it does right now. The chaos, the corruption, the violence, none of it is actually random. It's the mirror reflecting humanity's disconnection from source, from the universe. It's a collective trauma programmed by systems like government, religion, and other fear-based conditioning. When people forget who they are, they collapse into darkness. And that's the point Yeshua Jesus was trying to teach all of us. Not punishment, not sin in the way that we've been told, because the word sin is Aramaic, which is the language that Jesus spoke. Doesn't mean bad or evil. It literally translates to miss the point. So what is this point that we're missing here? That we are all God, that we are all creators made in the image of creation itself. And if we are made in the image, it means that we are always creating through our choices, our energy, and our vibration. But when you forget that, you miss the whole point. But when you remember it, you step back into your power. The mirror never lies. It will always show you what you are being. And the beauty is that once you recognize what the mirror is reflecting, you can start to choose differently. You can decide to reflect something new. That's how change happens, not by waiting for the world out there to fix itself, but by choosing differently in here, in your heart, in your state of being. Because the more of us that remember who we are, the more light we add to the collective mirror. The more people who choose joy, healing, forgiveness, love, authenticity, the more humanity will shift. One by one, we tip the scale from darkness into light. That's how we create the new earth. Not by fighting the old system, but simply by sharing the truth and remembering who we are and reflecting that truth through the mirror of the universe. So look at your life right now, and then look at the mirror. What is it showing you? And most importantly, what do you choose to reflect back? Heaven was never a place, it's a frequency. The church did way more than rewrite scripture. They rewrote the entire cosmos. They took heaven, the highest state of love and unity and truth, and put it somewhere far away, above, in the clouds, beyond the golden gates, somewhere that you could only reach if you obeyed their rules and felt constant shame. Heaven isn't up there. It's not later. Heaven is a state of being. It's a frequency. Quantum physics says everything is vibration, everything is frequency, everything is energy. When you live in the frequency of love, compassion, creation, then you're in heaven right now. When you're in fear, control, judgment, then you're in hell right now. It's not a location. It's a resonance. The church, though, doesn't want you to know that, because if you knew that you could tune yourself to heaven through truth, through love, through your own connection to the divine within, then you wouldn't need their hierarchy. You wouldn't need their permission. And now we are remembering. We don't have to wait for permission. We don't have to wait for a promised afterlife to live in paradise. We create it here. We embody it now. The real kingdom of heaven is a quantum state, a match between your soul and your highest truth, and you carry it in your body, in your energy, in your voice, right now. It's vibration, it's frequency. The church may have tried to gatekeep, but they can't take what's woven into your very bones. Heaven isn't a prize for later, it's a frequency you can choose today, right now. We are all remembering, and we're remembering together. Most people are trying to manifest a better life without understanding how reality actually works. Here's what almost no one talks about, and what changes everything. Your body experiences delay. When you shift your mindset or vibration, the body doesn't always catch up immediately. Form takes time to adjust. You might have already shifted timelines, but because your body still feels the same, you doubt it, and then you collapse back into the old routine. What you observe, you collapse. Quantum physics shows that particles exist in potential until they are observed. When you focus on something, you force it into being, meaning that every thought, every expectation, every judgment, every assumption is revealing one version of reality and blocking another version. The universe is a mirror, not a judge. It reflects your frequency with perfect neutrality, not to punish, not to test, just to show you. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you radiate fear, then the world around you shapes itself to prove that you're right. If you radiate safety, opportunity, love, the same thing happens. The shift isn't about effort, it's about responsibility. It's about awareness. And it's already happening every second, whether you know it or not. Through projection, you begin to observe the old reality with neutrality, not with anger, not with fear, but with wisdom. You say, this is the echo of who I used to be, and I'm not feeding that anymore. And then you choose a new emotional signal, not from desperation, but from alignment. You begin focusing on what you do want, not as a fantasy, but as a felt reality. You shift your inner state. You tune your attention to what already matches your desired life: peace, beauty, wholeness, even the tiniest details. A soft breeze, a kind message, a moment of clarity, and you let those micro mirrors amplify. At first, the big mirror won't budge. That's where most people quit. But if you persist, if you vibrate as if the new reflection has already appeared, you'll begin to notice the mirror ripple, slight changes, new energies, different patterns. The matrix starts to reshape itself around your new identity, and this is when the test gets harder. Can you keep vibrating for the life that hasn't reflected yet? Can you trust your signal over your senses? Because until you do, the old reflection will keep trying to pull you back. It'll say, see, nothing changed. But that's the old echo, not your new broadcast. This is how the top 1% of energetic creators live. Not from reaction, but from emission. Not from fear, but from frequency. They don't chase. They don't beg. They don't argue with the mirror. They become the frequency that commands a new reflection, and then reality follows. And when people say, "How are things going?" you say, "Wonderful." They say, "How's your life?" You say, "Terrific." They say, "How's your relationship?" "Couldn't be better." "How is your health? How are you feeling?" "I feel great." In other words, don't talk about negative things, because when you talk about negative things, you actually increase them and you draw more of them into your life. Look at the people that you know who have problems. They never seem to solve them. Why? Because all they think about is their problems. So the universe gives them more problems, not out of punishment, but because that is who they are. To him that hath shall more be given. From him who hath not, even that which he hath shall be taken away. Now, this is another critical point with regard to relationships, and I learned this again in my studies. It is that each of us has a certain amount of suffering that we've all gone through, and people begin to fall in love with their suffering. People love suffering. As a matter of fact, they feel that they've paid for it, that they've thought about it, they've lived it for so long that most people are very reluctant to give up their suffering. You can't talk them out of it. You say, "Well, why don't you just forget it? Why don't you just put it behind you? Why don't you just get on with life?" They say, "Well, I can't do that. Do you know how much I've suffered? Do you know how much emotional investment I've put into this relationship, this job, this career, and so on? This is the most difficult obstacle to overcome." It is your subconscious mind attempting to hold on to what is comfortable, even though this is a life that you no longer want. This is where the rewiring of your brain must begin. As far as your thoughts are concerned, it's time for out with the old, in with the new. On our next show, we will resume this discussion on our inner power, what I like to call the secret, and that will be my final episode for Season 1. I will then be taking a break over the holidays, and Season 2 will begin sometime in January of 2026. You've undoubtedly noticed over the past couple months that I have re-recorded many of my earlier episodes from Season 1. They will appear in your YouTube or Spotify feed as Redux episodes. I am doing this for two reasons. The first of which is to remove copywritten material from them. When I first started this show, I was very naive about the copyright laws, and the result of that was that my shows were not getting the exposure that I desired. The other reason is that now that I'm using the green screen technology, the shows just look so much better as opposed to that sheet that I used as a backdrop on the earlier episodes. So, for those two reasons, I have decided to re-record them. Hopefully, you're finding them enjoyable, and I apologize for any confusion that this may have caused. And that is where I will leave you for this episode. You have quite a lot to digest there, and we have so much more to cover and learn. I'm Mad Mark, and I sincerely hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If so, please like, share, and comment. I can't tell you how much that helps. And please tell your friends and help spread the word about this show. If you have any questions regarding the content discussed on this program, please message me through madmarktv.com or on any of my social media platforms. Who Are the Aliens? The History of the Anunnaki on Planet Earth is written and produced by me, Mad Mark. Today we have taken another step in our ongoing journey to discover the truth. I promise you that things will get more and more interesting the further we venture into this topic of who are the aliens, the history of the Anunnaki on planet Earth. Bye for now. You've been listening to Who Are the Aliens? The History of the Anunnaki on Planet Earth with your host, Mad Mark. Join us again on our next program when Mad Mark will once again uncover the answers to the mysteries that puzzle mankind.